All right, continuing on with my campgrounds of Juneau video. I'm gonna drive you from this one site. What we decided this is called the Auk Village site. And this is my recommendation. As far as I know, they might only have 11 camping spots. I just had a nice walk. It is 46 degrees out there. It's October 15th. They still have cruise ships that are coming in. But the campground is closed, so you have to come up here during peak season. And I'm gonna drive you to the other main campground in Juneau, giving you a feel for this place. We're also gonna drive right by the ferry terminal, so you can see, just reverse these steps, how to get to this campground or the other one from the ferry terminal if you come in that way. So I love the idea of traveling by ferry and camping in each town and getting to know the place. It's a magical idea. I think if you're gonna try it, that's wonderful. You should know you're likely gonna pay as much as or more than a cruise ship to come up here. The challenge with the ferry is the schedule is really erratic, and you shouldn't expect it to get much better. The funding is tough. There just is all sorts of issues. Some of the local communities are completely squawking because they just can't get enough ferry service. It's just a deal. Look at the ferry schedule. It's Alaska Marine Highway. They don't put out the schedule all that long in advance. Sometimes they have ships sailing around with an average of less than 6 people on a boat that can hold 500. It's just, this is one of the things you deal with in life. So if you do come in on a ferry, that's great. If you're traveling by a different way, I don't know how you're doing it, but come on in. You're gonna need a place to stay. This is Auk Village. It's a wonderful place to come and visit. If you stay at that campground, you're gonna be walking over here all the time. It's not allowed. You're not supposed to camp here. People keep breaking the rules, and I did see an RV parked here quite a bit of the summer. I don't know if the forest rangers have something to say about that or not. I know they don't want you here. It is a busy spot. The locals love this place. It's a nice, just everybody knows this. It tends to have better weather, although you can't really tell it today. My rule of thumb is if the roads are dry, it's a nice day. It's almost a nice day today. It's likely going to rain later today. We had a huge storm last night. We had a huge storm the night before that. So that's Auk Village. That's the Auk. I can't even remember the name. The name's changed, but it's called Point Louisa campground. It can be called a couple different things. Forest Service run. There are several private campgrounds, and I'm going to drive by the 2 that I know of. One of them I'm going to suggest right off the bat. You can call them up. It's a big RV park. So let's say you're coming in on an RV. Great for you. That's fantastic. Those sites seem small. That's understandable. I don't think any of the other sites are any bigger than that. But the RV parks in Juneau are basically completely full, as far as I understand it, all summer long. I don't pretend to own them. I do whale watching, not camping. And if they've got space for you, I think you're gonna have a wonderful time there. It's just you're sure gonna need to make a reservation with them. One of those challenges with doing that, bring ferry to Alaska and then camping along the way, is here, and this is the ferry terminal right here. Yeah, there you go. I'll give you a little bit of zoom in if I can. You're gonna get to see ferries as we drive by. This is the Kennecott. I think that's what they call the flagship. Boats are coming out for the season. It's been crazy with COVID. Not all the boats got in. It's just, life is tough. We couldn't find employees for running tours. But there's the Kennecott, the one with the big square stern. It's designed to be a emergency response boat with a helicopter pad in case something goes wrong. And this is the ferry terminal right here, so it's super easy to get to Point Louisa from there. Can you get a reservation through the Forest Service? I doubt it. And so then you got the next one in front of it. That's the Taslina. Taslina's brand stinking new. The Kennecott, that was the last one they built before they... ferries are a long story. They got rid of the best ones. They kept this Taslina is a joke and abortion. Sorry, I don't mean to use that name inappropriately or that word, but it was a terrible, terrible budget snafu. Silly Alaskans thinking that that's the thing that Alaska needs. It's way, way too slow. They replaced a catamaran that had 4 engines in it, and it could outrun the Taslin on one engine all day long. And of course on 4 engines, it's a 42 knot boat. And so it was just wonderful to get between here and Skagway and Haines. And they replaced it with a Tasman that cannot make a round trip in the amount of time a crew can be on board. And they don't have any staff accommodations. So it's just, ugh. Sorry, Alaska State Legislature, what the heck were you thinking? So now we're driving from the ferry terminal towards town, but I'm not going to go to town. When we get up to this roundabout, if you take the other exit, you can head towards town. If you're camping, that's not the way you want to go. So this is Auk Bay. This is the historic site where the native tribe used to live before we found gold in downtown Juneau. There's lots of gold mining history. There's lots of prospective gold opportunities all up and down this band. There are gold mines that have been retired left, right, and center. There are old vehicles hidden or buried off in the woods. There used to be tramways going up and down. All of these trees were cut down at one time or another for one purpose or another. That's the history. But the trees come back, the cars get overgrown, and they're not quite ready to be, in condition to be rebuilt. And we've got trails that just go up and down all over the place. If you came up here, you could easily, there's a book with 66 trails in Juneau, and I haven't hiked them all. I tried to one year, and I just ran out of steam. So here we are coming up to Auk Bay proper. This is where the boats are moored. It's the little neck in the corner. And this is the cheapest gas in town. There you go, $4.79. You are going to definitely want to fill up here. It's cheaper than any place you're going to get north or south till you get to Washington, or I don't know, probably Fairbanks has cheaper gas. So, oops. I'm going to go turn around for you. I just passed the first RV. This is a little sewer station. Not that you need to know that. Nice little bar right up there. They got in a war with the harbor, which wanted to put trees up in between them and the water, and then the bar won. They took the trees down. This is the first RV station on the right. This is the one that I'm absolutely saying you're not going to get in. This is all housing for local people. It is the Auk Bay RV Park. You can hear that name. You can check it out. I do not think you're going to get a reservation. I don't know anything about it. It seems like a great location. I have no idea what they charge. And if I was smart, I would fill up because I'm low. I actually know the people that own this gas station. And there's politics involved in gas stationing too, that just like the bar and their trees. Yeah, that's why I drive a 4-wheel drive. All right. So, Auk Bay RV Park. Out of 4, that's your number 4. You're in big trouble if you need to stay there. Nothing wrong with it. It's just fully occupied. Not a high crime district, nothing like that. It's just fully occupied. So all of these big parking lots, they're not going to want you to park here. You could try, if you've got a big RV, go into Fred Meyer's, which I'm not going to drive by, and park at the outer edge of their parking lot. The challenge is shoot, you can try that at Safeway too, and they probably wouldn't complain to you. The problem is, we have so few stores in this town. Those couple of stores I just mentioned, there are times, and it's not just Christmas and holidays, that the parking lot is virtually completely full. So just getting your RV in and out of that parking lot at Fred Meyer's might be a little bit troublesome, but it's a big parking lot. You'll probably be okay. Just make sure you're at the very far edge. And again, no promises. This is a dire straight situation where you're going to park. The harbor's not going to want you down there, even if you pay for parking. Although you could try that too. This is Alaska, and you want to do things right. Here's the University of Southeast Alaska, UAS. Yeah, you can go take some classes there. So now I turned away from the coast, and I'm turning up on the west side of the Mendenhall Valley. This is a big valley. You can't see the mountains on either side because of the weather. But it was carved by a glacier only a couple of hundred years ago. And it's a scenic drive. This is what you got. Driving around Juneau is no problem. We have virtually 0 dirt roads in the entire community. They're all paved. I've been told when I first got here there are 160 miles of roads, and there's 160 miles of tunnel in one of the mountains that was tunneled through, and we don't have any more roads in the almost 30 years that I've been here. They've actually gotten rid of a few. So that's just the way it is. So this is a nice scenic road, and absolutely this is not bear country, but this is bear country. I would be not surprised at all to see a bear on this road. This is not exactly key bear time of the day. They tend not to come out in the middle of the day, but it's cold and wet today, and bears don't like getting overheated, so they could come out. This is the time of year when they're stockpiling food and they go after garbage cans, and we locals know that you don't let the bear get your garbage can. That's not fair to the bear. Garbage bears end up getting shot by somebody. Bad subject. If you're at the campground, yep, they're bears. There are bears everywhere. Don't leave stinky, smelly stuff that's going to attract them, and you'll probably have campground rules saying lock it up. You saw at the last campground they had that big bear can. They put that there for a reason. I don't think they really have a bear problem, but the Forest Service is very much in the preventive maintenance mode, and so they don't want to see any trouble. So I got to be careful because, you know, I live in this town and I don't sleep, camp in the campgrounds. Although I have camped in both Forest Service campgrounds as a little outing, and so I got to be careful that I didn't pass this second one. This one is as I understand, it's a larger and certainly newer RV type campground, and it's private, so people are allowed to live in their RVs year round. And stinker, if I passed it, I'm gonna have to edit this like crazy. I just don't know my landmarks. You know, I've just actually driven by this thing a bunch of times, but I've never actually driven to it. I think we're close. There we go. So this is if you can get a reservation here, great. I think they used to have space available, but I don't know if they're what their operation is. So campground resort, well, resort's pushing it, maybe not, but I think you're going to do wonderfully well if you get a spot here. All of these campgrounds have a perfectly wonderful location compared to downtown. In Southeast Alaska, it makes a big difference weather-wise to be in one or another. Don't feed the bears. There you go. Video surveillance. There you go. This is pretty. You know, honestly, I just never drove in here. So here we go. Look at that. Me having an adventure. Wee. Do they have spaces for guys like you? Heck if I know. I like it. I like it. It's clean, simple, it's new. I don't know how it works. Oh, that's a bad sign. Is that Otis elevator guy? I actually know him. Oh, I wonder if he lives here. He sure doesn't have an elevator to fix it here. But it could be that, I didn't think he lived in an RV. I don't know what the story is. It could be, now see, that's looking really good back there. It looks like they've got seasonal RV spots out there. You are lucky. This is fantastic. Oh, I like it. I like it. Okay. Well, I had no idea. They've got parking for a tour operator out here. That's fantastic. I like it. I like it. Okay. Well, this is new. I like it. Everybody drives big rigs. Look at us all. Hey, there's a Mini. I got a Mini at home. Yeah. So it looks like they just got back loops, and so this is definitely one, if you want to make a reservation, I would want you to think about. Obviously, they've got RV and all the RV amenities. All these front ones are people living here because housing in Juneau is tight. Just the way it is. Just the way it is. So here we are. Yep. I have no idea what the rate is, but you saw the name on the sign. Let's read that out loud in case somebody, boy, there's a picnic table off to the right that it was in water. So what's it called? Glacier Nalu Campground Resort, 10,200 Mendenhall Loop Road. So we got one more campground to go to. Keep you from living in the wrong district. Now, if you're looking at campgrounds in Juneau, you might hear about a campground. It's a tent campground downtown. It is really not a campground. It is a homeless living site. I've not walked through the site myself. I would absolutely recommend, even if you're tent camping, that's not going to be the environment that you're going to be interested in. It's tent camp in one of these others, standard routine thing. You set up, you make your reservation, you set up your tent, and you leave it there during the day so nobody steals your site. Crime rate is relatively low, but the last time I stayed out at this campground, the campground host came around and said, make sure you lock everything up. And some happy Juneau kids decide to have their rave, or whatever you call it. There were some 70 cars that went piling into the campground, a bunch of local kids, and they had been stealing all sorts of stuff, causing mayhem around the place, stealing gas tanks. I don't know exactly what the deals were, but when the police officer showed up, the kids were smart enough. They had somebody out here at the only road in, and by the time the police officers got to the entrance of the campground, all of the people were in their cars and driving away. So it's a possibility. I'd hate to think about it. You know, even in Alaska, things do fall apart. So this is, heck, the Mendenhall Glacier Visitor Campground, Mendenhall Lake Campground something. This is a much, much larger Forest Service campground. It's very beautiful. You've got lakeside and not lakeside. It's got an entirely different feel from Point Louisa, which is where I started. I like them both. Point Louisa tends to be wet, but it's probably because I tend to camp this time of year. I don't camp in the middle of summer, and Point Louisa is not bad in the middle of summer. This is, again, both of those are Forest Service, and you have to follow Forest Service rules. And this one you can see the glacier from, although it's a little ways away. So let's see. Nope. Doggone it. So this is the Tongass National Forest Campground, Mendenhall. So I'm going to end this video here shortly. I'll just drive out to the end of this West Glacier trailhead. It's a beautiful walk-around loop in there. Full-sized RVs, no problem. Plenty of sites. I have no idea about the reservations, but as far as access from the ferry terminal, that's the video you need. Come on into Juneau, enjoy it. Obviously, I can't believe both Forest Service campgrounds are closed this early in the year. There is plenty of stuff to see and do. If you can get up here, it's going to cost you an arm but not a leg, and then it's going to be expensive to do things up here. But you can hike the trails for free. You can enjoy our lakes for free. There are beautiful places and nice people you can meet that you can come up here for free. And lo and behold, I just got to get up here and give you this view to say goodbye. This is the Mendenhall Lake. It is fed by the Mendenhall Glacier, which is rapidly pulling. There it is. You can see it just above the trees. Yep, that blue flat horizon up there is the Mendenhall Glacier. It is rapidly, rapidly melting. It is rapidly calving. It's a terrible thing to see. We're losing our glacier. So this is the Mendenhall Lake, and you can't see it from here. But I'm gonna step out there and let you see just a little bit of what we got. This is a really nice trailhead. If you are really, really adventurous, you can hike out and see the ice. But short of that, oh, look at this. Look at this. This is back towards that campground. There is an iceberg in the lake that is really exciting in one way because it's so beautiful, and terrifying in the other because I know how little ice there is in the glacier. There, we can see the glacier. This is right next to that glacier. Look at that. Look at that. Mendenhall Glacier comes down. You can't see it because there's a big peninsula that ends right about there, and then the lake curls around behind on the other side. There you've got Nugget Falls. From the far side of the lake, you can hike out to the base of those falls, and that's as far as you can go. On this side, because getting across that creek is hard, on this side you can actually, used to be able to every year before this, go out and hike up and touch the ice. Now, if you look up there, I don't want you to focus on my finger. If you look up there, you see blue ice up there? That's a bad sign. All this stuff is stinking melting. Blue ice means there's no, all of that is old ice. It's none of last year's ice. It's not the year before. It's just, that's an ice field that's not falling off the mountain anymore. And honestly, I've never seen it. Shoot, 94 I got here. You see that spire right there? I remember this whole thing all the way down was covered with what looked like an ice, ice. It was all solid white the whole time. And I look at that and I said, ooh, that's my Nunatak. That's a term for a rock that's been carved by glaciers going around it. Well, it's no Nunatak anymore. And then you see the top of this is, I believe, Nugget Mountain. There's a tiniest patch of white snow up there. Any day now, we're gonna get our first termination dust, and the snow is just gonna come marching down and hit us. Generally, Halloween is our first snowfall at sea level, and I can't tell if it's gonna be early or late. So stay warm and dry. I hope you have extra tufts. This is Dolphin Doug, out.